Mughal Empire in India was founded by Zahir-ud-Din Muhammad Baba, a Chaghate Turkish ruler born on the 14th of February 1483 in the city of Andijan, Andhra Province, Fergana Valley, contemporary Uzbekistan. He was the son of Umar Sheikh Mirza, the ruler of the petty kingdom of Farghana, and inherited his father's precarious throne. When he was 11 years old, though it was Baba's dream to rule Central Asia and capture Samarkand, he had fierce opposition from Persians and the Afghans. Consequently, he turned his eyes from the west to the east, from the steppes of Central Asia to the fertile plains of India. Formation of the Mughal Empire. Babur still wanted to escape from the Uzbeks, and he chose India as a refuge instead of Badakhshan, which was to the north of Kabul. He wrote, "In the presence of such power and potency, we had to think of some place for ourselves, and at this crisis and in the crack of time there was put a wider space between us and the strong foeman." After his third loss of Samarkand, Babur gave full attention to the conquest of North India, launching a campaign. He reached the Chenab River, now in Pakistan, in 1519. Until 1524 he aimed to only expand his rule to Punjab, mainly to fulfill the legacy of his ancestor Timur, since it used to be part of his empire. At the time, parts of North India were under the rule of Ibrahim Lodi of the Lodi dynasty, but the empire was crumbling and there were many defectors. He received invitations from Daulat Khan Lodi, governor of Punjab, and Ailaruddin, uncle of Ibrahim. He sent an ambassador to Ibrahim claiming himself the rightful heir to the throne, but the ambassador was detained at Lahore and released months later. Babur started for Lahore, Punjab in 1524, but found that Daulat Khan Lodi had been driven out by forces sent by Ibrahim Lodi. When Babur arrived at Lahore, the Lodi army marched out and his army was routed. In response, Babur burned Lahore for 2 days, then marched to Dipalpur, placing Alam Khan, another rebel uncle of Lodi, as governor. Alam Khan was quickly overthrown and fled to Kabul. In response, Babur supplied Alam Khan with troops, who later joined up with Daulat Khan Lodi, and together with about 30,000 troops, they besieged Ibrahim Lodi at Delhi. He easily defeated and drove off Alam's army, and Babur realized Lodi would not allow him to occupy Punjab. First Battle of Panipat, 1526. Hearing of the size of Ibrahim's army, Babur secured his right flank against the city of Panipat. Prudently, Babur took up a defensive position. He based his right flank upon city walls. A ditch protected his left flank, and front lay behind a line of 700 carts tied together with rawhide ropes to break cavalry charges. Every 100 yards passages were provided for his horsemen to ride through for attack. Those passages were heavily defended by his archers and matchlock men. For 8 days he waited for Sultan's attack. Ibrahim marched slowly and without plans. His officers had never seen such defenses before. Mongols have created a fort in the middle of a plain, his spies informed him. Babur sent out his horsemen to raid the Sultan's army on the 9th of April. After a light engagement, Mongol broke and ran back. It was a feint, and it worked. Ibrahim was elated at the ease with which his troops had repulsed best horsemen Babur had sent. Overconfident and full of high hope, he decided to attack. The next morning, Sultan Ibrahim Lodi advanced rapidly. At about 400 yards, Babur's cannons opened fire. Noise and smoke terrified Afghans, and the attack lost momentum. Seizing the movement, Babur sent out his flanking columns to envelop the Sultan's army. Here Afghans met the first time the real weapon of Mongols, Turco-Mongol bow. Its superiority as an instrument of war lay in the fact that it was the arm of the nobles, of the finest warriors. Bow in the hand of a Turco-Mongol would shoot 3 times as rapidly as musket and could kill at 200 yards. Attacked from 3 sides, Afghans jammed into each other. Elephants, hearing noise of cannon at close range, ran wildly out of control. Ibrahim Lodi and about 6,000 of his troops were involved in actual fighting. Most of his army, stretching behind up to a mile, never saw action. Battle ended in about 3 hours with the death of Ibrahim Lodi, who was at the forefront. And in the place where fighting had been the fiercest, dead amid the heap of Mongols slain of his sword, lay the weighing but courageous Sultan Ibrahim. His head was cut off and taken to Babur, wrote a Mongol historian. When Afghans fled, they left 20,000 dead and wounded. Thus came the final collapse of Delhi Sultanate and paved the establishment of new Turkish rule in India. However, before he became North India's ruler, he had to fend off challenges such as Rana Sanga. Battle of Khanwa. The battle was fought near on the 16th of March 1527. Sangram Singh gathered a coalition of Rajputs from the kingdoms of Rajasthan. They were joined by Muslim Rajputs from Mewat and Afghans under Mahmud Lodi, the son of Sikandar Lodi of Delhi. This alliance fought against Babur in the Battle of Khanwa to expel Babur from India. At a critical moment of battle, the defection of Silhadi and his contingent caused a split in the Rajput forces. Rana Sanga, while trying to rebuild his front, was wounded and fell unconscious from his horse. Rana's army thought their leader was dead and fled in disorder, thus allowing the Mughals to win the day. Khanwa turned into a disaster for the Rana when Silhadi defected. The Mughal victory was decisive and turned out to become Rana Sanga's first and last defeat. The Battle of Khanwa demonstrated that Rajput bravery was not enough to counter Babur's superior generalship and organizational skills. Babur himself commented, "Swordsmen though some Hindustanis may be, most of them are ignorant and unskilled in a military move and stand in soldierly counsel and procedure." Rana Sanga wanted to prepare another army and fight Babur. However, on the 30th of January 1528, Rana Sanga died in Chittor, apparently poisoned by his own chiefs who held his plans of renewing the fight with Babur to be suicidal. Death and legacy. Babur died at the age of 47 on the 5th of January 1531 and was succeeded by his eldest son Humayun. After death, his body was moved to Kabul, Afghanistan, where it lies in Bagh-e-Babur Gardens. It is generally agreed that as a Timurid, Babur was not only significantly influenced by the Persian culture but that his empire also gave rise to the expansion of the Persianate ethos in the Indian subcontinent.